He was there all the time. He was there all the time, waiting patiently in line. He was there all the time. You know, when you thought you were all by yourself in that mess you were in, he was there all the time. I tell you, he was there. All the time. He was waiting patiently. You wouldn't come to him when he wanted you to. In line. The Lord was there. He says, I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. You can't even die by yourself. All the time. I wish I had a Sunday morning praying church up in here. He was there. All the time. He was there. All the time. Just stood there, waiting patiently. In line. He was there. I tell you, he was there. When nobody else would befriend you, he was there. When the doctor said they couldn't do anything for you, he was there. When your money was funny and your chain was dry, he was there. The time. I'm in a Pentecostal church and they used to say, yes, Lord. Yeah, yes, Lord. Oh, yes, Lord. Tell you yes. Maybe you can't praise him because you're still going through your mess. But let me tell you, he'll see you through, church. God did not bring you this far to just leave you. If you're discouraged this morning, that's a Satan thing. That's not a God thing. As long as he is your hope, you have hope. No Christian ought to ever claim hopelessness. As long as you have the Lord in your life. Two scriptures this morning. One from the Old Testament, one from the New Testament. I pray that you hear a word not of mine own, but I pray that God will speak to your heart.
Yes, Lord.
in the Old Testament, the book of Job, in the first chapter of this book of Job, which is simply an argument. The entire book is an argument. A good man from Uz, God made a bet with the devil on. And the devil walked up to him one day and he says, this servant of yours, this Job, man, just stay in chapter 1 and you'll be with me. He said he's going to be just like the other church folk you got. Come on. And the Lord said, what do you mean? He said, well, Job only serves you because you got him highly favored with a lot of stuff. It says Job was rich. Job had 10 kids. Job was a family man and he had a wife. Job was the Donald Trump outside of the White House. And the devil says, I've seen the way some of your church folk do you, Lord. As long as they're not parking the car around the corner, they can come to church. As long as they got jingle in their jeans, they know how to say amen. As long as you and Boo are kicking it and everything is all right at the house, then you can show up maybe late, but show up on a Sunday morning. All right. He said, but I dare you, take all this stuff you got Job with away from him. Say that. He gonna cuss you like everybody else does. The Lord said, that seems like a pretty good bet to make. He said, you can do anything you want to do with Job, but just don't touch his soul. All right. Some of us fall apart when God touches our stuff, and you ain't gonna carry no stuff to help. The most valuable thing we ought to be taking to the gymnasium of heaven is our soul. Because when you leave here, it doesn't matter what kind of casket you in or what temperature they burn you up in the cremation chamber. Doesn't matter where you stash your ashes when you die. You carry nothing with you but a butt-naked soul. You will carry no jewelry in a hearse behind you. And so, the Lord, on one day, God allowed 3 major catastrophes. On one day. You look at Job 1:14. It says, and there came a messenger from Job unto Job, saying, the oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the sea beams fell upon them and took them away. Yeah, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and check this out, I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then you go over to the 17th verse. Now all of this is on the same day now, y'all. I want you to catch this. 17th verse says, while he was yet speaking, there came another, and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camel and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And here he is again now, catch it, and I alone have escaped. Some folks like to give you bad news. It just turns them on. Then here again in the 18th verse, same day, while he was yet speaking, there came another and said, thy son and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest boy's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the four corners of the house. And it fell upon the young men, and they died. Here he is again, y'all. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. All right. I want to talk about praising the Lord on a hell of a day. Praising the Lord on a hell of a day. Yeah, I said it. Some of us think because when you get up in the morning and your stockings got a run in them, you think that's a hell of a day. When you walk outside and find that there is a flat on one of your tires and your boss told you not to be late again, to you that's a hell of a day. Some people just can't get the breakfast cooked in time, and you wake up in a frenzy. And many of us, my first hope for you today is don't allow morning mentality to mess your entire day up. You don't have to shout this morning, but don't allow morning mentality. Have any of y'all ever woke up with a lazy spirit? Maybe you didn't go to bed in time, or you were doing some bling stuff or something. And it got time for you to go to work that morning, and you got up and you looked outside and it was raining. You didn't want to go to work in the first place. And you looked out there in that rain and you just jumped right back in the bed. Talk to me, somebody. All right. Put the covers over your head and you called it a day. Well, around 11 o'clock, sun's out. Everybody's at work. Let me preach this talk. Everybody's at work. But you. No excuse in the world. Because you have allowed morning mentality to take over your whole day. Something bad happens to you in the morning, you got to remember God done chopped days up into 4 pieces. All right now. And if you can't get what you need in the morning, call him up at noon. All right. Come on. Somebody say, may not come when you want it, then call him in the afternoon. And if you can't get the morning, or if you can't get the noon, if you can't get the afternoon, I dare you to catch him at night. None of us have the ability to create a day. None of us can reproduce a day. And you know what? Whatever you did not get done in a day, you can't do it tomorrow. Right, brother. Tomorrow stands on its own. I know some folk have let E and J. Y'all know I can't think of some names, so y'all drink it. That have taken your whole day out. And folk had to wake you up the next day and tell you what happened. Am I in the house? Because you did not honor the fact that God put you in his day. Where do we have the audacity to tell God, this is what I'm going to do today? Luke said you ought to say, if it's God's will. You wake up that morning feeling good and be in the ICU ward that evening. Some folk have made funeral arrangements that didn't know that there was even a death coming. So when you give God his day, you honor God in such a way that you tell God, I know I can't make no day. I am helpless when it comes to Lonnie came yesterday and changed the clock for us because of daylight savings time. But man can play with the clock all he wants to. The day does not belong to me. It belongs to God. I wish I had David to come in here and talk to you about a day. He would remind you that this is the day that the Lord has made. And you do whatever you want to with your day. That is your prerogative. But he says, I'm going to rejoice. And while you are walking around sulling and mad and angry and upset with the world, he said, I'm going to rejoice and be glad. Why am I going to be glad? I'm glad because God put me in it. I'm just talking about praising God on a hell of a day. There's some days that you go to work and you don't know you're getting a pink slip. You got to go home and tell your wife you don't have a job. That's a hell of a day. A day when you go around the corner and some Spanish person with no insurance decides to wrap your car around the post and then continue on driving while you ain't got insurance either. That's a hell of a day. The day your woman comes to you, men, and say, I've changed my mind. Here are the rings you gave them back. Put them back in the Cracker Jack box. I no longer want to be your wife. That's a hell of a day, y'all. But on this day that God gave Job, a day in which he lost, Job had to go call John Beckwith at Golden Gate. And he had to order 4 pink caskets. And he had to order the other caskets blue for his boys. And make arrangements at Lincoln Restland Cemetery for 10 graves. That's a hell of a day. But the Bible says, and if I'm not mistaken, it would be in the 18th verse, 19th verse. It said 20th verse. Then Job. I want you to catch this. This is what you do for your hell of a day. He says, then Job rent his mantle, shaved his head, fell down on the ground, and worshiped God. Do you know that you can push your way through some situations that don't seem like you can get through with your worship? Your worship will get the ears of God and the attention of the Holy Spirit, because God does not listen to whiners. He listens to worshipers. When you go to God and tell God you have a need, God is saying, what's a need? Well, God, I come to you, my Father, because God said, what do you mean you need? I left you with the cattle of 1,000 here. You own everything. You my child. What you mean you got a need? Job, how you going to handle your hell of a day? He said, while you're whining and complaining, I'm going to worship. I love the spirit of some people, how every now and then you'll see people on TV that have lost their houses. Natural disasters have come in. And every now and then you'll see somebody that's standing there saying, that's where my home was. We lost everything. But then all of a sudden a praise will get in their spirit on the TV. And they'll say, but I do have my health and my strength. Somebody on TV that's in California that got everything burned up. With the thousands and thousands of acres that are being burned, but they still say on the middle of that, I still got my children. I'm still alive to be here. So I can recover stuff that I lost, but I can't recover that I didn't have. So I learned how to praise my way through situations. Yes, it's raining out there. I still press my way. Yes, it seems like it's dark and I can't find my way, but I will press my way through praise. Somebody said when praises go up, I got a pocket full of blessings that have already come down. Oh, my brothers and sisters, the other scripture that got my head was that when we have this day that God has given us. If you go back to the New Testament when Jesus was on the cross of Calvary, he dealt with this day thing. And there he was on Calvary cross. And they had botched up his assassination because they really wanted to get him on Palm Sunday. But he kept on eluding them in their actions. So the Lord said, you have power in the day that I give you. Nobody can take the joy that I have in this day. He says in Luke the 23rd chapter and in the 43rd verse, it says, while he was hanging on Calvary, a thief on one side, a robber on the other. While he was hanging on Calvary's cross, he thought about the day. And he said, y'all tried to get me last Sunday, but I decided that no man can take my life. I will lay it down. Do you think the Lord would have allowed the creation to tell the Creator when the last day for him was going to be? The Bible said that he looked at the thief and they began to have a conversation on the cross about the day. And one looked at the other and he had an iffy attitude. Let me tell you that churches are full of folk with iffy attitudes. Let me tell you about the iffy attitude folk. They don't have any faith. They don't have any substance. They don't have any future because everything is iffy. But my Bible said, he said, if you be. Yeah, Lord. If you be. No Christian that knows that God has made a way for them can be an iffy Christian. Nobody who's had cancer and the doctor says gone can be an iffy Christian. Nobody who has been broke and God put money back in your pocket can say he's an iffy Christian. He said, if you be the Son of God, when you save yourself, save us also. But then the other guy on the other side looked at him and said, man, you're losing your mind. Do you know who this is? He dying and he had no sins. Do you know who this is? He is Mary's baby, the lily of the valley. He is my bridge over troubled water. Do you know who he is? He's my joy in my sorrow. Yes, he is. He's my doctor in a sick room. Do you know who he is? He's my lawyer in a courtroom. all day. But baby, I ain't in the ears. I'm in the wind. When this life is over, I'm going to wear a crown. I'm in the wind and not the air. He may not come when I want it, but he's always going to be on time. But that's what the Lord said. He said, I done pushed some days out the way. Y'all thought you had me on Monday, but I said you couldn't take my life. You thought you had me on Tuesday, but let me tell you what I'm going to do today. Just for you, he said, this day. This day. Now check me out before I take my seat. If the Lord can say this is the day, he can also say this is not the day. Somebody ought to help me right about that. I just stopped by to tell somebody, when your days get the way you can't handle, when it seems like stuff is not going your way. Somebody gave me this a few years ago. All you got to do is tell somebody, no. 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 Not today. You can't have my joy today. You can't have my peace today. I got a right. I got a reason to tell the world. Not today. He told us today. Today. Come on, go with me to paradise. If the Lord can say today, then that means I can say not today. Quit letting folks steal your joy. Quit letting folks put wind in your sail. Quit letting Negroes talk you out of your blessing. Tell them not today. You may have had it yesterday. You got the best of me yesterday. You sitting at home crying yesterday. I couldn't sleep last night because of yesterday. I ain't eating good because of yesterday. But let me tell you, I found Jesus, and he told me to tell you, not today. Church, that's how you handle it. On a hell of a day. You just learn how to praise. Folk on your job gonna call you crazy. But just keep praying. I know he's all right. Just keep on praising him anyway. You ain't got no money for lunch. Just keep on telling him, I know he's all right. You ain't got enough gas to get home in your car. I know he's all right. He'll make a way. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Say, I know he'll make a way, church. He'll put joy where you have sorrow. He'll put hope for your tomorrow. You're not feeling well today? Turn it over to the Lord. When you get those days that look like you just shouldn't get up out of bed, just remember whose day it is. Just say, Lord, I thank you. I passed by the cemetery on my way to church. And there's some folk not having days no more. But I thank you, Lord. Somebody said, I don't feel good, but I'm on top of the ground. And young people, they got young caskets too. Don't think you got to be old to die. But when you cherish your days, and on your tough days, just go to the Lord and say, God, I'm your child. I'm your child.
That's it.
I promise the Lord. I promise the Lord that I'd serve him until I die. That don't mean I can't cry sometimes. I promise the Lord That I'm going to walk when I have to walk by myself. But I'm going to keep walking. The devil is not going to make me turn my back on him. The Lord is blessing me right now. Oh, right now. Yes, the Lord is blessing me. Oh, right now. Oh, right now. Let me tell you what he did. I don't care about you. He woke me up this morning. Oh, and it started me on my way. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, the Lord. Do you feel blessed? He's blessing me right now. You see, you got to know you're blessed. Some of y'all are walking around, you don't feel blessed. Because the devil has told you you got too many problems. But let me tell you, you can be downtown in loose derricks and still be blessed. You can be at the hospital. We got 2 nurses in the house. And some folk wish they could have come to church this morning. But in your hospital bed, you can wave your hand and say, I thank God trouble don't last always. Wherever you are this morning, if you need to reclaim your day, quit giving the devil credit for the blessing that God has bestowed upon you. I feel pretty good right now. Well, let me tell you what. He woke me up this morning. I was clothed in my right mind. Oh, and he did not let me sleep too late. Yeah, he woke me right on time. He woke me up this morning. And he started me. He started me. Oh, my way. Hey, yeah. Oh, the Lord. He is blessing me. The next time you have a stormy day, doesn't look like you're gonna make it, I tell you, just start praising. See, praisers are not complainers. Just start praising him. I ride around with a little raggedy truck. I just thank God that the headlights are on. I might have pots and pans to keep rain out of some areas in my house. But guess what? I'm so glad I'm not homeless and outside. When you think of a little bitty thing, it'll make you want to shout. Make you want to throw away your trouble and tell him thank you. Thank you. I just want to tell him thank you. It's personal. Thank you, Lord. Nobody knows but you, Lord. I want to tell him thank you. Oh, thank you. Somebody said he been better to me. Big Mama said he been better to me than I've been to myself. You can't make me doubt it. I know too much about it.